Welcome back to Steven Does Cool Things. As promised, the kiddos are back in here in the studio helping me out today. So I've got Caden here. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Daddy.
So what are we going to do today, do you know?
We're going to stain our guitar body.
Well, before we stain it though, what do we have to do?
We have to sand it.
We've got to sand it, that's right, because it's a little rough to the touch. But if we sand it, then it's going to take in the stain a little bit better. And on top of that, it'll be, well, nice and smooth and have more of a glass top. So, you want to go sand it?
No.
You don't?
No,
okay.
I don't want to come with you.
Do you want to watch me sand it?
No.
Why not?
Because it would be boring.
It would be boring. I bet you don't want to see it either. So, hang on. I'll be right back. I'm going to go sand this thing. All right, here we go. It's sanded, it's done. Now it's gonna have a little bit of sawdust on it and everything, so what we'll do to take care of that, just get a damp rag. Don't spray it directly onto the guitar body, just because that could soak in a little too much and then that'll give you problems with the grain. So, but as you see, it's wiping a lot of the sawdust off. We wanna get that sawdust out of the way, because otherwise you're just staining over sawdust instead of staining over the actual body of the guitar itself. By the way, if you're wondering about this shirt that I'm wearing, check out the Ann Arbor Shirt Company. That is where I got it. This was a Father's Day gift from my really awesome family. So yeah, I got that just a few weeks ago. Caden, I don't know why you're wandering off, but hey, Reagan. I don't even know if you saw her on camera there. She might not have gotten in far enough. So yeah, woo! That was loud. All right, so we let it kind of dry off a bit, and we can tell just even after getting it just a tiny bit damp, it did kind of that grain raised just a little bit, which that's another thing that this pre-stain is going to help with. It's going to help. What it'll basically do is enhance the grain. I talked about it a little bit in part 2 in that video, and so this is actually putting it into action. So it'll bring the grain out a little bit. It'll also help with any blotchiness or anything like that we would get from the staining. But what we do, you just pour it directly onto the body of the guitar. It's got a little bit of an alcohol smell, so you will be able to smell it. But as you can see, it's definitely bringing out the grain here in the body of the guitar. And that'll really come through very well after we've put the stain on it. So that's why this will be pretty cool. But as you can see, just look at that. Now it's got a really vibrant color to it. And according to the instructions, you want to stain within about an hour to an hour and a half after applying this. So that's why after we do this, we'll go put on that first coat, which I have decided I'm going to do the black undercoat first, and then maybe sand it back a little bit and put the green on top of that. I think that's going to look just fantastic. But yeah, this part's very easy, simple to apply, doesn't take a whole lot of it. It evaporates pretty quickly, but you want to make sure you get the ends and the sides and everything as well. So I'm gonna finish doing this, and then the next part of the video you see, we'll let it sit for, you know, an hour and a half or so after that, and then we'll apply some stain. Thank you, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, well, now that we've let this pre-stain dry, we are ready to stain the guitar. What I did to make this stain, I kind of talked about it before, but I'll recap it real quick. We took some Minwax polyacrylic, which is like a clear stain. Pardon the nauseating camera work that's going on right now. And then we took just some regular satin finish paint, and we made a 50-50 mixture of it or so. So we'll shake it up really good.
What are we going to use with the black paint?
Well, this is making a black stain is what it did. So this will, instead of it just painting the guitar, it'll stain it. So we'll be able to see, you see the little grain work in there inside of the guitar to show you at home. Then you want to just fold up your paper towel. I'm just using regular shop towels. I found those for quite cheap at Walmart. So yeah, that is not bad at all. And another trick that I learned by watching another YouTube video was that if you don't like using gloves, you can actually just coat your hands really well with lotion before you get started. And then everything just kind of rinses right off whenever you rinse the lotion off. So we will put the stain straight onto the guitar there. And then we'll wipe it on right there. I'm staining it because I want to be able to see this beautiful grain that's on the guitar. I want that to be kind of the focus of the guitar. And you'll go through quite a bit here on this first coat, but you want to just rub it in really well, get it on nice and thick. I'm sure this is just so exciting to watch this, but it's going on nicely though. It looks really good. I'll kind of show you I'll hold it up for everybody to look at after I'm done with this part. One other thing you want to do, you want to let one side dry a little bit before you flip it over and do the other. Otherwise you could end up with either paint all over your workstation or stain all over your workstation, or you could, even more so, you could end up getting whatever you're staining or painting stuck to that side of the table or the cardboard or whatever that you're working on.
And why did they put that hole there?
The holes are there so that we can fit the electronics in there onto the guitar. Because remember, this is an electric guitar.
Yeah.
Little different than an acoustic guitar, which just kind of produces the natural sound on its own. This black looks amazing. I like this. I really think this is going to be pretty cool especially once we sand it back just a little bit.
So you're doing a black color? I thought it was green.
It's going to be black underneath. So what I'm doing is staining it black underneath so that then you'll see the grain really well. It just makes the stain pop out a whole lot more after I put the green on it. Mm. And the other thing I'm doing a little bit of a burst effect. You've seen I'll share a picture, in fact, right there. That's a picture of my Stratocaster, the little sunburst that it has. Caden, just use your imagination as it floats right here in front of your face, about this big or so.
Yeah, I see it.
And yeah, the orange right in the middle, and then the darker color on the outside. We're going to do that same effect, but with more of a green in the middle.
That's kinda cool.
So then, once you put down that first layer of stain, then you can go back now. If you want to help it dry a little faster, just take a
That
dry,
was
clean
answering my next question.
rag.
Why would we use that? And you answered it.
Okay, very nice. There we go. So there's that. We're going to go ahead. We will get the other side.
That looks cool.
Dried that down a little bit.
It actually
So let me hold that up.
blue.
There's what the underside now looks like a little bit. Dress the edges a bit. I'm also going to do a faux binding around the side here that will go along right here, and I think that's going to give it a really kind of classic old style look, and it'll be really neat. We're staining the edges here. And another trick I learned is you want to go with the grain, that way any kind of strokes or whatever you put into it get kind of hidden, because you'll see instead of seeing the stain marks, you'll see the stroke marks. Or instead of seeing the stroke marks, you'll see just the grain of the guitar, and they'll kind of blend in with each other. So that's kind of helpful.
What's grain in the guitar?
All right, good question, buddy. Grain, if you look at the guitar, right here, we'll look at it this way for everybody to see it. You see the marks of the wood that are running throughout it. That's when we talk about the grain, that's what we're talking about. And the little cavities here, you'll see a little runoff in there. That's not as big of a deal. You don't really have to worry about that as much because that part's going to be hidden. Now, if you have little parts that kind of streak a bit, that's where you want to watch out for it a little bit more, because there is a little bit of a Looks like there's a mark they made when they were drilling some of the holes there. And some of the stain kind of crept into there and it's trying to stick in there. So that's something I'll have to keep an eye on as I continue working through this. And this is the part of the video that will probably speed it up just a little bit so that you don't have to watch us do this so much. I have gone through and applied stain all over the outside of the body now, so now we're going to basically take it into the garage and just let it sit and let this really soak in really well. The next step will be sanding a lot of this back, so it doesn't have to be a perfect coat, but this does look really cool now that I've got it all stained on the outside and everything. So we'll see what it looks like after that.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.